Open up a tab, grab a seat, and pour a pint. It's time for the Beer Guys Radio Show.
You want free beer? Go to the brewery.
Dedicated to the art, science, and enjoyment of craft beer.
Yeah, what's wrong with the beer we got?
Now, here are your hosts, Tim Dennis and Aaron Williams.
And welcome to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We are radio for the local craft beer movement. Broadcasting from Savannah River Brewing Company in Augusta, Georgia, I'm Aaron Williams.
And I'm Tim Dennis. We got Brian Hewitt with us here today.
How's it going, Tim?
Good, Brian. Good. You were waiting for me to ask how you were doing, weren't you?
Typically, you ask me how I'm doing, and that's where I jump in.
Apologize for letting you down there.
Yeah, left me hanging.
We have a special treat. Becky Smalls is with us. She doesn't have a mic, but she's with us. She's usually traveling. She's around. But it's cool to have her here today. And most importantly, we have three awesome guests with us here today.
We do.
We have the crew from Savannah River Brewing Company. We have Steve Ellison. Steve is the founder, owner, brewer at Savannah River Brewing Company. That's a lot of hats.
Yeah, it's a few hats.
Got to wear them all, right? So we also have Adam Fullmer. He's the head brewer here. And we have Ashlie Arsenault. Yes. Okay. Ashlie is the taproom operations manager. So we got everything covered here.
The whole crew is here. It's great.
The gang's all here, Aaron.
Definitely. So, yeah, we're on the road right now. We're in Augusta. We're in the CSRA, the Central Savannah River.
That's correct.
Is that what it's called?
It's a big area.
See, there you go. And, we were in Georgia's second biggest city. And, really enjoying what's new and what's going on and what's noteworthy here in the city. So it's a lot of fun.
Well, this city always has something going on.
Definitely. And the best part about it so far, except for the beer, of course, is the James Brown statue that we saw.
So we went down to see the James Brown statue,
yes.
And there's a sign. Did you see the sign about getting a picture with it?
Yes, you can.
So I tried that, and it says text a number, and the light will flash. So we waited, and the light never flashed. So I'm waiting to get a picture of us, like, walking away, like my elbow in the picture, whatever. But it was a cool picture.
Exactly. We'll have to figure that out later on. We got to get a little work on that.
We'll see what the picture looks like.
Yeah, we'll have to see how it turned out there.
Exactly. So we've been on a trip. We've taken a little trip to the eastern portion of the state. So far, we've hit a couple of different places, haven't we, Tim?
We've made a few stops today. We've had a good time. So on the way over, we stopped in Greensboro, visited Oconee Brewing Company there.
Right.
So very close to the banks of Lake Oconee. So very nice.
Yes, beautiful place.
We had lunch at the Hive here in Augusta. Before then, they have a really nice tap list. They have fantastic poutine. And,
yes, they do.
They have a non-meat falafel there, as Brian discovered.
Yes.
It turns out no meat. Yeah.
No meat in falafel.
Interesting,
Who
right?
knew? Who knew?
Yes.
But still good, right?
It was great. I don't think anybody knew that before I ate that. I'm glad I could discover that for all of us.
Very cool. But now, so we've got a few more stops today. But right now, we were at Savannah River Brewing Company, their gorgeous big tap room, and we're going to talk shop with them.
Yeah, sounds like a plan. So go ahead and check out this week's Truck and Tap's beers of the week.
Crack open a cold one. It's the Truck and Tap Beer of the Week. Woo-hoo! Craft beer and food trucks in downtown Woodstock. Truckandtap.com.
All right, Tim, what do you got?
We have a great lineup, as we mentioned. Beers of the Week at Coney. Some stuff we tried over at the Hive. And right now, we've got the full lineup, it looks like.
Yeah,
Savannah
definitely.
River. Is this the full tap list right now?
Not complete.
So we still have some more to try after this.
Yeah, you got the IPA, the coffee blood. We put together a craft soda as well every now and again for the kiddos and for the DDs and all that. Right. So
that's important.
Good to have a non-alcoholic option, right?
Yeah, I like that. So very, very cool. So, hey, listen, lots of news. We didn't get into Brian last week. Of course, Brian always feels slighted because we don't get into the headlines as much. So I think we should give him a lot more room for his headlines this week. So let's get into it right now.
What's in the news? The Beer Guys have the scoop.
Extra, read all about it.
Time for headlines.
All right, Brian, what do you got?
All right, so the most interesting thing I found recently is the beer world may have a slight plastic problem. A study has found microplastics in beer made with Great Lakes water. And so they did a study that includes 12 different brands of beers made with all of the various Great Lakes water, and they found microplastics in all of them. So we're talking about small plastic fibers and as well as particles. The study didn't mention the names of the brands, but it did cover all of the lakes, basically. So the really interesting thing about the study is there wasn't actually a direct correlation between the plastics in the water, the source water to make the beer, and the plastics in the finished product. So that means somewhere along the way, plastic is getting added to the beer, so there are other sources. That's a really interesting thing. So it's not just the water. We got to look at other parts of the process of making beer.
So what that's saying is that the microplastics in there, because the article said that made with Great Lakes water, but I guess the point of this is that the source of the microplastics is not necessarily the Great Lakes?
Not just the Great Lakes. Obviously, that's part of it, but there's something else going on. But It was like 100% of the 12 beers they tested.
Are you going to leave us on a cliffhanger with this one as to what the source is? Does it still need to be found
No,
out?
they don't know. They're not sure. That's the crazy thing about the study. They found that all of them contained it, and the water did have some plastics in it, as well as a bunch of tap water that tested from around the world. But the big thing was the beer. So the Finnish beer has it in there, and the Great Lakes do. And there's something else going on in the process that actually enhances that. That is my understanding of the study.
Interesting.
Yeah, so unlike glitter, this is an adjunct that people do not want.
Yeah.
Well, of course, we don't want glitter in our beer anyway.
It doesn't really make it hazy or sparkly.
That's
if
true.
they could make it sparkly, if we could make plastic bottles sparkly, so when we throw them in rivers and lakes, it would make our water look nicer. Maybe that's a solution right
You're
there.
all about litter if it glows.
If it makes things look nicer,
Okay.
yeah.
All
Christmas
right. There you
lights
go.
broken up, that sort of thing. Yeah.
That'll work.
broken glass.
Yummy.
It's colorful. It's nice, right?
It's like glitter beer.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm thinking. So from the Big Beer Drama and Shady Practices desk, we have a charming story about a corporate beer giant in New Zealand that was trying to trademark the terms dank and common. So that's really interesting. I'm not sure if they're doing it anywhere else, but the company's name is Lion, and they confirmed that they were doing it, and they were like, well, we want to use these in product names in the future. We're not going to stop other people from using it. Nobody was buying it. They got slammed all over social media, and within about a day of the article being posted on the New Zealand Herald, they'd already retracted their patent applications.
There you go.
Trademark applications.
So yes, I'm going to start to trademark the and
Right.
with, and I'm going to start so everyone just whenever they make something with something, they need to pay me. For
I'm
that.
a little surprised nobody's tried to trademark dank in
Yeah,
beer
it's true.
in the U.S. We ought to look and see if anybody has tried it, because there might be some
I'm sure
interesting
someone
lawsuits
did.
coming.
You know, that's it. But the thing is that if someone had tried that, say, I don't know, 5-6 years ago or whatever, when it was just,
No one would have cared.
you know,
Yeah.
maybe coming out. I think the term dank has been around longer than that, but not to the extent
Yeah.
that it has lately. People may not thought as much of it, but now it's common usage.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so to jump on it once it becomes common usage. I'm going to trademark pale and hoppy.
Exactly.
That's perfect.
So-
Well, and dank was one of them, but common.
And
Just
common.
the word common was. I'm like, how can you trademark common? It's a
Trademark
common
offices.
word.
Like, you do realize the irony of this, right?
Yes.
So-
And there's
Cloudy and hazy.
it's right. There's a certain rapper that would be very angry about that as well.
That is
So there
true.
you go.
That is true.
That's-
You can't go to New Zealand. They've
That's
already
right.
trademarked the word.
We're currently in the process of trademarking IPA.
Good.
Right
That's-
now.
It's a good
Smart- that's a
move.
good business
Yes.
move.
Very
Go
good
for
call.
it.
Then
Very good
license
call.
it out. You
you
can
go.
close the brewery down. Just license that name. So.
So speaking of fun IPAs, Massachusetts Springdale Brewing and Kentucky's Against the Grain Brewery have collaborated on a clear New England IPA. That's nearly crystal clear, like cloudy water looking New England IPA. So the beer's name is Any IPA, not N-E, but A-N-Y, Any IPA. And it was brewed intentionally to be as light and clear as possible as an irreverent take on the craft beer social media-driven obsession with appearance and haziness. 4 pounds of hops per barrel, reportedly tastes very much like your typical New England IPA. And you might get a chance to try it if you're in the distribution network for Against the Grain.
Which we are.
And
Yes.
we are, yes.
We'll have to keep it. I want to try that one just because.
At CBC, there was a collaboration with Fat Bottom Brewery out of Tennessee. They did a clear Northeast IPA as well, and they used it out of a brophy. It's almost like a secondary a filter, for lack of a better term. And it'll make things just crystal clear.
Is that a bro trophy?
It's a bro trophy. That's what
Dude,
it
I want
is.
a
gonna
trophy
ask.
for this beer.
Dude, exactly. But no, it was interesting. It's weird to drink that style of beer and have it be completely crystal clear.
Well, that's the thing. A
yeah.
lot of things, the visual on it is important as that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've mentioned this before. Like if you pick up your drink and mentally you think it's an iced tea, but it's actually a Coke.
Yeah.
You'll take a drink and it tastes weird, even if it's not, just because mentally you're expecting something else.
Exactly.
I predict this will be just as popular as Crystal Pepsi. I think it'll go over
That
well.
went over
Absolutely.
well, yeah.
One
Do you
puts-
know what they use for the base on that?
I have no idea what they use for the base.
Because I was
actually,
wondering
yeah.
to get it that clear, if the malt had any color at all to it, it's not going to be as clear as that.
That's
So,
true. That's true.
All
So, yeah.
wheat, all
Rice.
So yeah.
Well, there you
Could
go.
be,
That
yeah.
could work. Yeah.
There
know
you
what?
go.
Good point.
That's one of the four main ingredients in beer, is what I've been told. Anyway.
Yes.
Put a little sprinkle of malt, do an all rice grain bill.
Exactly.
There we go.
I think it'll work. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick break right now. You're listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We are in Augusta, Georgia, talking to Steve Ellison, Adam Fullmer, and Ashlie Arsenault from Savannah River Brewing Company. We'll be back right after this.
Have you visited Sweetwater's Woodlands? If you're a fan of wild and sour beers or big barrel-aged stouts, you should. The Woodlands Tasting Room in Atlanta is a short walk from Sweetwater's original tasting room and allows visitors to see the beer aging in a variety of wood vessels. If you want to get your hands on the super limited Woodlands releases, join the Woodlands Circle Beer Club. Your membership gets you 6 unique and different beers from the Woodlands, awesome Woodlands Circle stemware, a $25 bar tab, and other cool perks during your time as a member. Series 2 will start this summer and feature more great wild ales and barrel-aged dark beers. Get yours now for $149. Find out more and join now at sweetwaterbrew.com/club. That's sweetwaterbrew.com/club.
We are Reformation Brewery, celebrating the reformer in you. Locally crafted within the renowned Etowah watershed of Woodstock, Georgia, Reformation creates yeast-forward brews full of aroma and flavor crafted to last. Come see us in beautiful Woodstock, Georgia, for a tour and tasting of unique brews that you can't find anywhere else. Reformation Brewery, set beer free. ReformationBrewery.com.
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Strange things are afoot at the Circle K.
Now, back to the Beer Guys Radio Show.
And welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. Visit us on the web at beerguysradio.com or follow us on the socials. Beer Guys Radio on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We're back in Augusta, Georgia. We're talking to Steve, Ashlie, and Adam at Savannah River Brewing Company.
Yeah, folks, thanks so much for your hospitality, and thanks for having us.
Oh, we're pumped about having
You guys can never come back.
Never. This is
We keep drinking all their beers. So it's,
we'll
we
let
found,
you in this one time.
Exactly.
We already got banned. That's awesome.
In that case, I'm getting lit. I'm going to cause a scene.
Brian got stuck in the lauder ton, and we couldn't get him out, and that caused some problems. Exactly. So anyway, listen, we love to hear origin stories, and this is our first trip to Augusta. So if you can tell us a little bit about how this idea came and came into reality, really.
Well, so it's a family story. My daughter was in medical school here. We'd come down to visit her. We lived in the metro Atlanta area, and there was no breweries here. There was absolutely none. And Augusta's the second largest city in Georgia. And so I'm like, well, I've been a home brewer for 10 years plus, and it's like, wow, this is a great opportunity here because there's a lot of things going on in Augusta. There's Fort Gordon. There's this big golf club that has an annual.
I'm going to ask a question about that later on in the show, but yeah, there's a big golf.
Okay, so there's that thing, and then there's a huge university, Augusta University here. That so you had all the kind of right makings for a successful brewery town, college town, and not that there isn't a town that isn't a successful brewery town. But,
sure.
So my brother, who's a business guy, we kind of put together some numbers, and we thought, well, this could work, and so and that's kind of the origin.
Okay, excellent. And now you guys are here and serving some beer up to the folks in Augusta. Now you're here and you guys are serving up some beers to the folks in Augusta.
Yep. We're serving up some beers for Augusta. We have quite a variety, and we're real proud of. Adam is our head brewer, and he's come up with a great new beer we've named Wonky Kong. It's a white IPA, very citrusy, and I'll let Adam talk more about it.
Wonky Kong.
Talk more about it?
It's a good beer. That's all.
That's it. That's all we need to know.
A few words.
When I saw that on Untapped, I'm like, I have to ask about that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's, go ahead.
No, go right ahead, man. Absolutely.
It's a Belgian wheat strain of yeast. The primary hops are lemon drop, Citra, and Denali. Denali is pretty new on the scene. There's a lot of stone fruit there, a little bit of berry, and it kind of comes together with Citra and lemon drop pretty well to create something with a certain dankness. Trademark.
Trademark dank. Yes.
Trademark. Yeah, outside of that, with the Belgian wheat strain of yeast, you get some nice fruity esters, some banana, not much in the way of phenolics, but it's really nice with the hops. Does something really cool. You could probably actually use the same regimen and brew a different beer, and use like a clean like American ale yeast and probably have something completely different. which is great.
And we
I
saw
love
the
yeast.
can art concept, and that's pretty darn cool as well. So that's
It
pretty
does.
awesome.
You guys can't see it. Anybody listening right now, you can't see it.
Can't
No.
see
It's kind of
it's radio.
It's kind of
It is.
tiki-ish, isn't it? Just a little bit, little tiki theme going on
Yeah.
there.
It's top
I like
secret.
it.
Yeah.
We'll see it one day.
Exactly.
So, Steve,
We started off with bottling, and so we had our 5 main beers, which we were, I'm a home brewer, so I like style. So we tried to be true to each style. We have a Czech Pilsner, a Belgian Wit, an American Amber Ale, an IPA, which is more West Coast IPA, modeled more after one of the companies out there.
Sure.
Stone,
We
I guess.
Stone, somebody we can
Now,
figure them out. It's okay.
Speaking of bottling, you use bottles for your core beers, but cans for your seasonals,
Yeah.
right? Just curious, what's the reasoning behind that?
All right, so that's kind of simple. Most people have had bottled and can, and so our experience has always been that the bottle's been better. And when I say our experience, my brother and mine, and then we actually had tastings here, and the majority of people felt that the bottles tasted better. But economically, the cans actually make more sense, and so we're trying to transition to that.
To the cans, yeah. That's, like you said, economically, and everybody wants their beer portable now.
Right.
You throw it in a cooler, you go here or there, you're going to the beach, the pool, the lake, so, you know, whatever.
But there was just something old school about having a bottle and just taking a sip on the back porch,
I still like bottles for, like, big stouts, sours, the Belgians. I like the presentation of it and everything. Big beers. Big beers are something that's a sipping beer, but if I'm going Pilsner, or I'm going something that I want to set back and drink, I like the cans. Like that,
So the plan is once we can the beers, we're gonna pour wax over the top of it.
Perfect.
That's it.
Very
So
nice.
the best of both worlds.
You know,
right
you're
there,
getting
man.
something fresh.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So now, Adam, you are native here of Augusta, right?
I am.
What's it like, again, for just up until you guys and a couple others opened up, there wasn't a lot of craft beer here. So what's it like to basically brew beer for your hometown?
Pretty amazing. I helped start with a friend, a longtime listener of you guys, Chuck. I guess you guys met him earlier.
Sure.
Anyway,
Yes.
so we started out Homebrew Club, and there began my passion. I wanted to not my day job, but I wanted to brew with Aiken Brewing Company in Aiken, South Carolina. It's a little brew pub, and opportunity of a lifetime came up to come here, and I threw away my career of 17 years and became a brewer.
So we're always curious about this. What were you in your previous life?
I was a dog.
Okay.
I knew you were going
I
there.
think
Yes,
so.
excellent.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was
There you
just-
go. Just it.
I think a golden retriever. I'm not
Golden
sure.
retriever.
Okay, there you go.
Most
Loyal.
people
That's
can't
good.
make a career out of that. 17 years is a good career
I'm
for a
pretty
golden
impressive,
retriever.
exactly.
So, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's changed a lot, and because of us and Riverwatch Brewing opening, it's been great, and trying to build camaraderie and a brewing community in a town that's never had it. So when we can see that, it's amazing to me. I love it. It's my life. It's my passion. So.
And things are improving in Augusta, obviously, right? Got a couple breweries here, and we were talking. Brian and I had seen a news report. It may have been 2 or 3 years ago, but they were talking about, and I think this may have been something you guys faced about downtown. So downtown, you can't have a facility down there. Is that right?
Well, initially that was the case.
Okay.
When we built here, which we're not very far from downtown. We're only a couple of blocks, so it's not like a big deal. But light industrial is where you had to put your breweries, and so that limited where you could put your breweries. Downtown's kind of or at least Old Town's kind of where people tend to go. But Augusta's a huge area. It's not the only place people go. So our location is very convenient because it comes off of the Gordon Highway and Walton Way, which is right near the medical. I mean, it's a main roadway through the city. So we're in a really nice location. We're not hurting at all as far as that.
Sure.
And it's become almost a destination. You know, I'm kind of looking around the crowd here, and I'm seeing guys. Looks like they're from Fort Gordon. You know, the younger guys look like from the military, and you've got again like a lot of the medical workers and stuff around here too. Yep. So it's a place where people can gather.
It's a great family place. We're dog friendly. We have just about you come here, you can do whatever you want. You bring your own food if you want. We have food trucks on a regular basis. Pretty soon we'll start making some takeout foods and stuff like that. So it's a great place to just come and our goal is to have a place for you to come and kick back.
Take it easy. And like I said, Saturday afternoon here, a hot Saturday.
Really hot.
Oh, yeah.
Nice and warm May day here. And, nice, lively tap room. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. Right. Definitely. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick break right now. You'll listen to the Beer Guys Radio Show. BeerGuysRadio.com is our website. We're also on the socials at Beer Guys Radio as well. And we'll be back more with Savannah River Brewing Company right after this.
Hey, this is Nick Knock, head brewer, Sweetwater Brewing Company. Welcome to the Beer Guys.
The Beer Guys are back right after this.
Are you looking to open a brewery or brew pub in Atlanta? Take a look at the Park at Georgetown. This unique community will feature a collection of restaurants along with a craft brewery located within the new JW Homes luxury development, Dunwoody Green. Conveniently located less than half a mile from I-285, this enclave of restaurants will be the gathering place in Dunwoody. Whether meeting old friends or making new ones, the Park at Georgetown will be the place to share a great meal and build lasting memories. If you're planning to open a brewery or brew pub, the Park at Georgetown may be your new home. Crim & Associates, the developer at the Park at Georgetown, wants to talk to you. For more information, call Stephen St. Paul at 404-256-2960, extension 5. That's Stephen St. Paul, 404-256-2960, extension 5.
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
You passed out cigarettes for a smoke-a-thon on Earth Day. You installed speed bumps on the handicapped ramps. And most recently, you dumped 100 pounds of meat on a peaceful vegan protest.
Oh, come on. That was way more than 100 pounds.
Now, back to the Beer Guys Radio Show.
Welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We want to give a shout-out to one of our great radio affiliates, KTEL in Walla Walla, Washington. You can hear us in the heart of hops country every Sunday, 2 to 3 p.m. We're back at Savannah River Brewing in Augusta, Georgia, talking with Adam and Steve and Ashlie.
Ashlie. There you go.
That's right. Ashlie said she just wants to drink beer and hang out, though, but we're going to bug her here in a minute. So.
Exactly.
Steve, I got a question for you, man. So we talked, I see that you completed the Siebel Institute's, is it Concise, what's the name of the course? Concise Course in Brewing Technology, correct?
Yep.
So we moderated a new brewers discussion group with the Guild not too long ago. And that was a question that came up. Talked about kind of education in brewing before starting your brewery. So that the Concise course, I take it it's a concise course. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it doesn't require any hands-on sort of thing. Of course, I've been a home brewer, so I kind of had some background knowledge, but not in an industrial side, which is that course is geared toward more industrial size. So we were in the process of starting this brewery, and I'm like, I really need to. We had a master brewer that was helping us and consulted and get us up and going, but I felt like I needed to have a little more than just what reading books and stuff, and so I took that course, which is a very concise and a very informative course. Helps you a little bit with the biology and the chemistry of what goes on with making beer. It gives you step by step what you're looking at with the different processes in a industrial or commercial brewery, and from anywhere from just the mash tun all the way to the filtering devices. So it was very informative. I thought it was very good. I wish I would have waited until we actually had the brewery up and operating before I took the course, because then I could relate it more
to what you were doing,
to what I was doing at that time. Luckily, though, I did order the the printed copy of it. So that's
there you
an
go.
extra.
You can always go back. You're like that mash. We're just talking about that here.
Right. So as I was going through the course, I took notes.
Yep.
And it helps. It helps.
Oh, wait a minute. You're supposed to take notes in class?
No. I never did.
Well, if you're interested.
That's why I was.
Are you actually supposed to go to class?
Oh,
that's a really good point.
That's my problem. Okay.
All right. Well, I was being more studious.
There you go. Exactly. No, we applaud that.
You pay a chunk of change. You want to get the most out of it.
That's right. Yeah,
definitely.
Get the most out of it. So something you found valuable, you enjoyed.
I did.
Out, right?
I think it put a perspective on how everything was done here, and makes me relate better to someone like Adam, who is certainly knowledgeable in all aspects of the brewery.
Cool. It's handy.
I don't need no book learning.
No book learning. That's right. Real world. Blood, sweat, and tears, right?
That's right.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah, so the tap room, this is your domain, correct?
It is.
You have to keep all this running smooth. So for people that come to the brewery here, what sort of vibe are you looking to present to them here? What can you expect here in your tap room?
Well, we're family-friendly, pet-friendly, pretty laid back. People like to come here, play cornhole, Jenga. We do flights, pictures. I sound like I'm advertising us right now.
That's it. Tell them about it, right? See, we noticed, you mentioned Jenga and cornhole, and we noticed when we set up to record the show, everybody wanted to set those up next to us.
They're
so they
very
wanted to
popular.
set the Jenga and cornhole up right here.
This is the cornhole area.
This is the
that you
cornhole
set up
corner
here.
right here.
Now we know.
Absolutely.
That's it.
But it's handy. I see you have them hanging on the wall right there. People can grab a cornhole set and go.
Yeah,
Indoor,
and it's
too.
hot out,
They don't have to
so
go outside where it's hot, right?
That's why they're trying to set up around us. It's hot out today.
Right.
We have a local cornhole league that comes here.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah.
Those have become more popular, seeing the cornhole leagues.
Yep,
Absolutely.
normally on Thursdays they set up here.
Awesome. And I see you've got quite a few taps there. How many beers do you normally keep on tap?
Around 8 or 9. I think we have 7 today, but it's normally up pushing 10.
Okay. And I'm assuming that here you do experiment with that. You've got your core beers, your bottles, your cans, and that. But when people come to the tap room, will they find stuff they may not find out there in cans and bottles?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely, most of the time.
Or small
all
volume.
Or small batch.
Anything coming soon that people want to come down here and make sure to get their hands on?
Yeah, absolutely.
All
We're
right.
about to release Blanky Kong again. We've done a few small
Yes.
batches, but the large batch is coming out. And
Very cool.
we'll have that for a little while.
We just sampled that one. Tasty
Yes.
stuff, so get up here and get it while you can. Sure enough.
We have a summer ale, and we have a oak-aged bourbon imperial stout that's going to be out. Hopefully, well, we're going to let that age a while. So that's going to be out August, September area time.
See, I'm not one to argue with releasing a bourbon barrel aged stout in
the middle
May
of summer?
or June.
Yeah.
But
well, we'll see how it goes.
Yes, right.
Yeah, but now speaking of the tap room, though, I mean, is there some sort of, because again, Augusta is a very new craft beer city. Is there a lot of education that you guys have to have with your customer base? Tell them it's like when people come in here asking for X, Y, and Z beer, you don't have that, but try this instead.
Yeah, we try to gauge a customer. So the laws changed in September in Georgia. So now it's not like you go on a tour and get
tickets
beer
and
included,
stuff,
right?
yes.
So now you want to make sure they have the best experience. We have a flight that allows them to taste different ones. Then you just ask them kind of what kind of beers they buy in the store, and then you point them to what our beers that might be similar to that, and hopefully, so there's a little education part. But I tell you, there's only been 2 craft breweries here, but people here are very astute to what they like and beer.
That's good. What you like? So, speaking of your beers here, I've got a can in my hand that's super cool, and I've noticed that it's got Darth Vader surfing on the can here. Is that right?
The swamp thing.
Oh, the swamp thing. That explains
the monster from the Blue Lagoon.
Then, right?
Remember that a long time ago?
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't know that that's what that was, but when I
from
saw
a distance, it looks like.
Well,
Darth
when I
Vader.
saw
You're
it
right,
online,
yes.
it was a small.
To say officially, that
picture.
is not the monster from the
That
lagoon.
is right. This
Do
is
not sue us.
inspired by. So
That's right.
So, but the name of this is the Phinizy Swamp thing. Is that right?
Phinizy.
Phinizy
Swamp.
Oh, the Phinizy Swamp.
What? There's the
tell us
Phinizy
about
Swamp
that.
here.
Phinizy.
The Phinizy Swamp.
Is it called the Phinizy?
Phinizy.
I'm finna to see about this beer is what I'm doing.
That's right. It's got Darth Vader on it, Brian. No, wait.
No,
we
it
already
does
covered
not.
that,
we covered that, Tim.
Is that the name of a swamp
Yeah,
in this area?
Phinizy Swamp is out in South Augusta. It's a little bit of a nature preserve. You got some alligators out there, and a lot of wildlife and things like that. It's a cool place to go to. Take your family out, bike ride, or just walk the trails. Get eaten by the alligators.
Which is why he's on the board getting out of there, is because the gators are chasing. And
I lost my left foot yesterday, and I was out there.
See, got to be careful. Now, to correct myself, I'm just having a little fun here. This is very clearly. Very clearly.
What?
Let me try this. Now, just to correct myself, I'm just having a little fun here. This is very clearly a swamp monster on the can. It's actually a really cool can. The colors, the soft colors there in that, the surfing swamp monster. That's a cool can. I like that a lot.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Yeah, no. Tim's mispronunciation of local things in Augusta notwithstanding, you guys do try to kind of combine local Augusta knowledge and lore into your beers, right?
That's right. So our 5 main beers, excluding the wit beer, which we just kind of came up with a name for that. The Westaboo is the original Indian name for the Savannah River. So the Westaboo Amber Ale was named after the Westaboo River.
Okay.
We did a little searching on that last night. I think there's a Westaboo Festival as well, right?
That's right. We sponsor that as well, and our beers served there, I think exclusively. I'm pretty sure that's right.
Don't know.
Is that a beer festival or just a general festival?
No, the Westaboo, it's an arts and crafts.
Arts and crafts.
It's a whole week long. You have entertainers, musicians, the art, the paintings, the drawings, all forms of the arts are during that festival. It's a big event here in Augusta. So.
Nice. Very cool. Well, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break right now. You're listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show. BeerGuysRadio.com is our website. Visit us there, and also on the socials. We'll be back from Augusta, Georgia, talking to Savannah River Brewing Company. We'll be back right after this.
It's Aaron and Tim, the Beer Guys. If you're like us, no lunch or dinner is complete without a pint or two of craft beer.
Which is why Truck and Tap in downtown Woodstock and Alpharetta are always on our list. Tim, why do they call it Truck and Tap?
Well, the tap part is easy, Aaron. See, they've got 18 of them.
As for the truck part, well, that's when it gets interesting. Truck and Tap features your favorite Atlanta area food trucks daily, so that way you're getting a different menu every day.
Truck and Tap in downtown Woodstock, Alpharetta, and coming soon to Duluth in 2018. Truckandtap.com. Let them know that the Beer Guys sent you.
Craft beer forged with a reverence for tradition and new styles that start a revolution. Ironmonger Brewing. The brewers at Ironmonger Brewing pride themselves at being masters of barrel-aged, hoppy, and sour beers. They invite you to their taproom in Marietta to taste and see. Also, visit their barrel room with an intimate drinking experience with great live entertainment. Keep up to date on all things Ironmonger by liking them on Facebook. Ironmonger Brewing, establishing a new standard in craft beer.
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
To be the man, you gotta beat the man. Woo!
Now, back to the Beer Guys Radio Show.
And welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. Subscribe to the show on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcast, and please leave us a review. It helps us out a lot, and we really appreciate it. We are in Augusta, Georgia. We are at Savannah River Brewing Company. We are talking to the crew here. We're talking to Adam, Steve, and Ashlie all about Savannah River Brewing, Augusta, beer, swamps. We're covering all the topics here today,
yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah. Absolutely. So we wanted to talk a little bit. I joked about the label here on the beer that I'm.
Say
Phinizy.
it, Tim. Say it,
Phinizy.
Tim. There you go.
Yeah.
I got it.
That's
Phinizy
it.
Swamp thing.
You got it.
So what's the beer? Because we were having some fun with the label. We never talked about the beer in the can there.
It's a wit beer. It's a sour wit beer infused with pink guava and blackberries, and I secondaried with the pink guava and blackberries, and there's also a little bit added in at the bright tank as well to add in some extra color. Now I don't give a crap about color really, but
it's a really nice
we decided
color,
to go
though.
ahead and just kind of do it up a little bit more and tint it a little bit more. So yeah,
but color is important to it, like we talked about a little bit earlier. We tasted remember the raspberry Berliner we tasted that was clear?
Oh,
you know
yeah.
the one I'm talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
And we told the brewer, we're like, this beer is delicious, but this needs to be red.
Yeah.
It needs to look like raspberry if you're going to put it out there.
And I think sometimes when you get a funky-looking beer like that, Ashley, sometimes people in the tap room are like, oh, what's that? That's kind of weird. I want to try that out.
Oh, yeah, this is one of our best sellers right now. It's popular. And the color, I think that has something to do with it.
Absolutely.
You see it and you're like, what is that? I want that.
It's an interesting pinkish orange, maybe?
It reminds me of like a grapefruit juice type of a color,
like a pink grapefruit.
Like a pink grapefruit.
It's a blend of what the can looks like.
It does kind of have a lot in common with the colors of the can. It's like you applied a highlighter to this beer to make it more appealing. Draw the eyes, as
dry
it were.
highlighted, Brian?
Yummy.
Yes, dry highlighter, delicious.
It was dry hopped with the highlighters.
Yes.
Dry hopped with dry
highlighters. So we got the color.
Exactly.
Yes, get that color. Also, you can pour it on your documents if you need to highlight a sentence.
Exactly.
Right, absolutely. Brian, I'm going to throw this to you, man, because coffee is your game. You want to talk about their Wired series here?
Yeah, I've noticed a trend. I've seen a couple of beers that you had that were wired. I know that right now we've got the Wired Blonde up there, which is a blonde with coffee in it, and I'm loving that beer. Is that becoming a thing, a wired theme with beers? Like you pick a style, add coffee to it, and add wired to the name?
Yeah, sort of. So I'm incorporating that with the blonde. Our most accepted is the Wired Dynamite, which is infused with Nicaraguan selva coffee beans from a local roaster here in Augusta, Buona Cafe, and they do a really good job roasting their beans. They get exceptional beans to start with, and it helps to make an exceptional coffee ale. And this, example with the blonde is with light Ethiopian roast from the same Buona Cafe.
Oh, different breeds. That's very interesting.
Yeah. I think we will probably bring back a wired version of our amber and using a medium roast Sumatra.
So did I catch that right? So 3 so far that you've done the wired treatment to the amber, brown, and blonde.
I did it up with our IPA. Wasn't quite satisfied with it. But I'm not a big coffee IPA person, so I'm probably rather biased. I just don't think it works very well, like from most examples I've had.
No, but when you have a mild base, like you said, a blonde or an amber, you can really kind of get those coffee flavors out there in the coffee, aroma, and roast, and it's not fighting with the hops of an IPA, for example.
That's exactly right. That's kind of what we found, right?
Yeah, I think with the IPA. You're adding more bitterness because you're going to pull out some bitterness from the coffee as you're infusing the beer. Mm-hmm. So when you already have a beer that's already so overtly bitter, like an IPA, I think it adds a little bit, just a tad too much there.
So maybe like a cold brew with the IPA. You take the same beans but make them less edgy and put them in an IPA.
Yeah, a certain maybe smaller amount of acidity that you're kind of throwing into the mix. That absolutely that could work.
Because it is a finicky combination.
I just hate coffee IPAs. I just hate them.
There you go. That's
I
love
whatever
them.
You want to. I still don't like them. I do too.
So Stone's Dayman IPA, that's really been the only example, in my opinion, that's been quite lovely.
I thought the same thing as what you're saying before I tried one. I'm like, coffee IPA, that's just not going to work. Those are just two polar opposites of each other on what you want to taste. Like, I normally want rich, malty, deep roasty tones in there if I'm going to get coffee.
Yeah.
But Monday Night's Bedhead.
That is what I was going to say.
That's a good one, isn't it? It's a great coffee IPA. And I've had some that just don't work well, and a lot of times it is the execution of the coffee, because I've had these same beers that they do as a coffee IPA that have had the base IPA, and it's really good. And then you get the coffee version, it's like, no, you just don't want this. So, like, especially them hazy boys.
Yeah.
That are out now, the big New England style hazy juicies.
A little tropical coffee in your notes and your thing. I don't think that'll work either.
So, man.
No.
I'm out.
Some of those Ethiopian ones, they have the peachy kind of flavors to them.
Okay.
If you got it right and you really accentuated those berry and peachy notes, I think you could do something really
let's
good
put
with
it this
that.
way.
You're wrong.
Someone's going to do it, so we'll probably have the chance to check that out probably sooner than later.
I've been right about other things today, Tim.
All right, here we go. No fighting, kids. So tell us a little bit more about what you guys are doing out in the community as well. I know you've got some works for charity and those things too.
Yeah, Ashlie, why don't you?
So tonight we actually have the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society here, and 10% of our proceeds for the sales today go towards them. They're going to be set up at the front accepting donations. That's one of the big things we're doing today. We have a lot of pet adoptions, and we actually are teaming up with a blues nonprofit organization that takes their proceeds and puts it towards instruments for children.
Cool.
So for children that can't afford instruments.
That's cool.
So it's really
awesome.
cool, and we have a couple events coming up with them.
There's probably a lot in Augusta musically. Musically involved, right? You know, blues
Absolutely.
and everything. So that's pretty cool. Get it going there.
So I was thinking music, and I was thinking about there's a microphone on your brown ale. I was wondering what's the significance of that Dynamite Brown Ale with the microphone on it? Will it make my voice sound better on the radio? Is that what that means?
Oh, wait.
Well,
Yes.
Probably
Just
not.
tell him
but-
that, he'll drink the beer.
Exactly.
But obviously Augusta is the home of James Brown, the godfather of soul. But also Dynamite is another nickname for James Brown. So Dynamite Brown Ale, we felt was an appropriate name that once again brought our beers to where we are, which is in Augusta, and so we're very proud to have that.
I like that. So, but I mean, if it does help your microphone voice, though, Brian, I think you should probably take some.
It might give it a little more funk, a little more richness,
a little more funk, a
depth.
little more exactly.
Yeah.
So, Steve, with your Pilsner, you actually had a little bit of trouble with the original name of that beer. Is that correct?
That's correct. So, all our names of our beers were kind of Augusta-based because I always thought that was a pretty cool thing. Straight to L in Huntsville had a very similar thing, which I grew up in Huntsville, so I thought that was just so cool. So I was like, we're here in Augusta, and there's a whole lot of Augusta in Augusta.
Yes.
So So our Pilsner, we thought, would be a great name to exemplify how it was good. In the green portion that the Czech Pilsner had on its packaging, that there was a event here that was great, but we weren't allowed to use that name. So,
I got you.
So we had a contest. So we took that negative. We got duly reprimanded, and we turned that into a contest. And so, contest was open to everyone in Augusta, and we had over 500 entries, and we chose a name based on that.
No jacket required is the name, right? And for those that are familiar with where we are and what happens here at the local Augusta National Golf Club, you can probably delineate what we're trying to say. You could have, for example, called it, say, Turquoise Overcoat, correct? That would have fit. Brian, I think you had a name for it, right?
Yeah, I was more thinking grass-colored torso sock.
So these are
Yeah.
all
I like torso sock.
Yeah.
These are all great choices, and also I don't believe you
the contest. Obviously,
I know, but I'm not in Augusta, so I don't think I could pull that off.
That's right. That's right. So, hey, folks, we got to wrap it up for this week. Adam, Steve, Ashlie, thank you so much for joining us, and thanks for your hospitality.
Thank you for coming.
This was awesome. Excellent. Well, coming up next week, we're going to be talking beer, barbecue, and baseball. That's right. We're hanging out at SunTrust Park in Atlanta, Georgia, with a Terrapin ATL tap room. Remember to subscribe to Beer Guys Radio on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure to leave a review and tell us what you think. Hopefully you like it. Have a great week, and don't forget to drink local. We'll talk to you next time. Cheers.